In a quiet coastal village of the Philippines, where palm trees sway with the rhythm of the ocean and children play barefoot in the golden sand, lived a young boy named Miguel Santos. He wasn't born into luxury, nor did he have the privileges most children dream of. His mother, Rosa, worked tirelessly in a small bakery, kneading dough before sunrise just to make enough for dinner. His father had been gone for years, leaving behind only an old radio and a few faded photos of Elvis Presley. That radio was Miguel's window to the world, his escape from hardship, his teacher, and his stage. Every evening, he would turn the knob carefully, letting the warm crackle of old tunes fill their bamboo hut. Elvis' deep, soulful voice became his friend, and slowly, Miguel began to mimic it. He didn't understand every word, but he felt every emotion. The way Elvis sang about heartbreak, hope, and redemption, it was as if the king himself spoke directly to the young boy across oceans. At age 9, barefoot and shy, Miguel began singing for his village. He sang in markets, at church gatherings, and sometimes just for the waves. People began calling him the little Elvis of the islands. He didn't have much, but he had something priceless, a voice that carried truth, pain, and love all at once. Years passed, and Miguel's dream grew bigger than his village. A foreign tourist visiting the island once filmed him singing, "Can't Help Falling in Love," beside the sea. The clip found its way to the internet, and within weeks, it went viral across continents. One fateful morning, an email arrived that would change everything, an invitation to audition for Ireland's Got Talent. Miguel's mother wept when she saw it. They didn't even have passports or proper clothes, but the entire village came together, raising money with whatever they could. Fishermen donated coins, mothers baked bread, and even children sold seashells. Miguel boarded the plane with trembling hands, clutching a photo of his mother and that old Elvis radio. Ireland was cold, strange, and dazzling, far from his humid island home. For the first time, he stood before a massive stage, bright lights blinding him. Behind the curtains, he heard the crowd murmur, "He's just a kid, what can he do?" But deep inside, Miguel knew he wasn't just a boy. He carried the heart of his mother, the hope of his village, and the soul of Elvis Presley. When his name was called, Miguel stepped onto the stage, small, nervous, yet glowing with quiet determination. The judges smiled politely, except Simon Cowell, whose expression was as unreadable as ever. "What are you singing for us today?" Simon asked, tilting his head slightly. Miguel swallowed and answered softly, "I'll be singing, 'Can't Help Falling in Love' by Elvis Presley." The audience whispered again, some smiled, others doubted. But then, the music began. A gentle piano chord filled the air. Miguel closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, it was as though time stopped. His voice, tender yet powerful, flowed out with a rawness that pierced every heart in the room. Every note was drenched with emotion, not practiced perfection, but lived experience. The arena fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. His tone carried both pain and purity, a reflection of the little boy who once sang to the waves back home. The judges' smiles faded into awe. Simon leaned forward, his usual composure melting away as the boy's trembling voice hit the high note, a note that seemed to carry the tears of his past and the prayers of his mother. As the final note echoed through the theater, silence filled the air, not because people didn't know how to react, but because they couldn't. Then, slowly, the crowd rose to their feet, clapping, cheering, crying. The camera panned to Simon Cowell, and for the first time in years, his eyes glistened. He turned his face slightly, wiping away a tear, trying to hide the emotion that had overtaken him. "That," Simon said softly, his voice shaking, "was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard on this stage." The audience erupted once again. Miguel stood frozen, overwhelmed, tears streaming down his own face. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He bowed deeply, whispering, "Thank you," over and over. Behind the stage, producers and crew members were crying too. It wasn't just a performance, it was a moment of humanity, a reminder that talent can come from anywhere, even from a forgotten island across the world. Simon pressed the golden buzzer, showering Miguel in a rain of gold confetti. Miguel dropped to his knees, covering his face, while the entire theater roared with love and admiration. His mother watched from home, hands trembling as she saw her son shining like a star. Overnight, Miguel became a global sensation. News outlets from London to Los Angeles covered his story, the boy who made Simon cry. His video gathered millions of views within days. Celebrities, musicians, and even Elvis tribute artists praised his soul-stirring voice. Miguel didn't chase fame, he just wanted to sing, but now, the world was listening. Invitations poured in for interviews and collaborations. He sang for charities, hospitals, and schools, always carrying that same humility that first won people's hearts. When asked about his inspiration, he always said, "It's my mom, she's my first audience and my hero." What touched people most was not just his voice, but his sincerity. He sang like someone who had lived 1,000 lifetimes in his short years. Ireland adopted him as their own, calling him, "the boy with the golden soul." And when he performed in the finale, singing, "You'll Never Walk Alone," the entire audience joined in, waving Philippine flags and crying tears of joy. That night, it didn't matter who won the show, Miguel had already won the world. Years later, Miguel would often return to that same beach where it all began. The radio still worked, though now he didn't need it, his voice echoed through speakers across the globe. He built a small music school for children who couldn't afford lessons, saying, "Music found me when I had nothing, now I want others to find it too." His story became a symbol of hope, especially for children who dreamed beyond poverty. People said Elvis would have been proud. In interviews, Simon Cowell often mentioned Miguel's name, calling him one of the most unforgettable voices to ever grace a talent show. But for Miguel, the true victory wasn't the fame, it was seeing his mother smile, hearing her say, "You did it, my son." Every note he sang after that was a prayer, for love, for faith, for those still dreaming. The world remembers that night not just as a performance, but as a miracle. Because somewhere in Ireland, under bright golden lights, a Filipino boy reminded millions that music isn't about fame, it's about the heart behind the song.